Anyone who actually cares about giving you accurate information or just making sure that they don't waste your time in regards to Carmelo Anthony would get in front of a camera or get in front of a phone and tell you that the next time you're probably going to get any substantial information about this will be on June 1st of 2026, because that is the jury trial date. What a great way to kick off Pride. And they would just peace out after telling you that. But because I live in a world where people will clamor towards one thing and one thing only and make that their entire being for as long as they can so that they can milk that dry for as much as it's worth, I have people for the past 2 days, I'm recording this on Thursday morning, who have been clamoring, making think pieces, talking points, live stream discussions, countless videos, countless tweets all around new developments and towards the innocence of Carmelo Anthony from the worst possible person imaginable with an opinion on this, Charleston White. And for any of you who don't know who this is, let me just sum it up to you like this: a caricature of anyone you've ever seen in a cartoon who really hates black people. A minstrel show, if you could call it that also. And when this all first kicked off, Charleston was very pro Austin Metcalf, who's really against Carmelo Anthony.
You cannot bring a weapon to school.
Yeah.
So you can't say I was
What if he says self-defense?
There's no self-defense, because if you are afraid the day before, where you have to take a weapon to school, why not notify your parents? Parents, you notify the school teacher. School teacher that's bringing these kids in here and resolve this issue is called conflict resolution. We was taught in homes that has morals and values, you tell the teacher. Somebody fucking with you, you tell the teacher. Let the teacher know, so when y'all have an altercation, you're cleared and you're covered. Documentation beats conversation. So word to documentation to say this is self-defense. It's a premeditated crime because you took a weapon in fear. Anticipating to use it.
That was premeditated, though.
Innocent at track meet. You getting ready to run track with other kids and you got a knife on you. No, man, you got to go to jail. You got to go.
But now, after having conversations with the father and I guess all the representatives on Carmelo Anthony's side, he is now in full lockstep with Carmelo Anthony.
I got all the facts of the case. So there's a video that's been released by Frisco Independent School District, because this is public information. And if you want to see this video, you can go up to Frisco Independent School District and see this video. That's why Sarah J. Fields and Austin Metcalf's dad, and now they've drugged the mom in, but they're trying to debunk people from going to see the video. Why do you think Sarah J. Fields, she released the indictment before anybody had the indictment, and she got a woman fired? Because they're using a new Jim Crow systematic tactic where they got the people inside the courts, they got the people inside, and they're working against the Carmelo Anthony family on behalf of Sarah J. Fields, because she's a precinct chair and she's threatening to use her power from her precinct chair, I think District 30, to get people unelected and get people elected if they don't go against this case. So she's trying to use political power to influence and persuade this case. That is what Sarah J. Fields has partnered with Austin's family in trying to do. The mom wasn't too much in it. The mom's really been grieving. Austin, Jeff Metcalf has been playing for the camera because he's been an absent father who abused the mom, and he think he can get back in with mom, and mom doesn't want anything to do with Jeff. That's why you don't see them standing in the camera together like you see the Carmelo Anthony's family doing. So let me stick to the case, to the facts, right? So Sarah has a lady who works for the Collin County courts who just lost her job, who released the indictment before anybody had this. So for whatever reason, Sarah is getting all this information, and she's coming to misconstrue the information, and she's giving out misinformation and false information. Number one, the family has not touched the GoFundMe money. GoFundMe froze the money because the lawyers are trying to get the money. The lawyers are trying to get the money, not the family, it's the lawyers. The first group of people came through was civil rights lawyers trying to play for a civil rights lawsuit as if this was a police shooting. That's why they went with the race card. Biggest mistake they could have made. First mistake I told them they made, playing a race card. Now the white people was waiting for black people to play the race card. Now they're playing the race card in ways that we can't see. It's called racism. It's hidden in the fabrics. It's embedded in the fabrics of the design of America. So it's not blatant. You can't see it. It's hidden. Like somebody in Collin County courts who has a job to feed their family are releasing private information to a known, not a law enforcement, which is Sarah J. Fields. That's the first mistake that's happening in this case. These are adults that's doing this. This was a children's problem, a children's issue. The adults have gotten in and made it hateful, ugly, and racist. And this is about right or wrong. This is clearly about right or wrong. This isn't about race. The adults have came in and made it about race. You don't hear no children online talking and fighting and going back and forth about this case. It's all hateful-hearted adults. It's not children. It's all hateful-hearted adults online bickering, going back and forward, spewing hate over an issue over children. And none of them was there. All the adults with opinion, none of them was there. So Sarah, let's tell the truth. Jeff, let's tell the truth. You even said in an interview, but you're talking too fucking much online, Jeff. You're talking too much online, Jeffrey Metcalf. And you're partnering with someone who wasn't there, and it's clearly she's a hateful-hearted. And by the way, Sarah, we have your background as well. You said Dominique Alexander's a horrible person, and he is. And you once were too, Sarah. You used to smoke meth. You was a meth addict whore. So don't try to get cleaned up in the Republican Party and hide behind this conservative shield as if you once was a liberal whore, getting high, selling your cunt for meth. So come on, Sarah. Don't play like you're just so high and mighty. Jeff, you're a woman beater. You used to beat your wife. Your kids heard it. They saw it. You had anger issues, Jeff. Guess what? Your two big boys did too. They had very anger issues. And from what's been reported about Austin and his twin brother, they've been kicking ass since elementary. They've been bigger than most children. Not only that, they are trained experts in jiu-jitsu. Why isn't the media reporting this?
And you know what? I would have sat here and said, it's cool to change your opinion. If you're having private interviews or conversations with family and they're giving you details and things that they can't give to the public and you change your mind, perfectly fine. You know what? That's valid, and it creates that nice little ecosystem where people who say one thing can change their minds if they're given information. I just have one problem though. It's a lot of horse shit that I'm hearing that when I hear it, I need it backed up with something. And a guy whose eye is crooked, who can't really have a coherent sentence come out in the next 5 breaths, can't really convince me of somebody else's innocence. And you know what's funny is how many people will either be on this camp and say, oh, well, you know, it's something to think about, and how Carmelo Anthony has this supporter who used to really hate him, who's talked down on black people, but now he's apologized, and, you know, we should really start moving towards the side of Carmelo Anthony's innocence.
So Charleston White apologized for the remarks that he said about Carmelo Anthony, and he apologized to his family and Carmelo Anthony and said he is not the kid that he thought that he was. He thought Carmelo Anthony brought the knife. He thought Carmelo Anthony brought a knife, and he did not. And he also explained that the two brothers, who I don't remember their names, that they were bullying Carmelo Anthony, and that Carmelo Anthony was invited by a player of the school. That's why he was under the tent. And the two brothers came over and they was just like, hey, y'all gotta go. And they are known to be bullies. And that the brother that was exited out of here, he actually broke his father's arm in a fight. So these kids are known to be violent like their ancestors. And he believes that they're going to get off for self-defense. Now, first of all, shout out to Charleston White, because he never apologizes, and it's exhausting sometimes watching his content. But this just goes to show that a lot of people need to do their research before they say anything, myself included. Make sure that you take the time to read about what's going on before you make any comment and you make it worse. Because just slandering somebody's name for what? For what? This is real life to this young man. And I hope and pray that he gets off for self-defense. And this is a message to bullies. Keep your hands to yourself.
And you got the people who know Charleston White as nothing but a money-hungry opportunist who's desperate for a little bit of engagement because he went viral talking shit about black people, and now he's seeing the money dry up on that, and now he wants to make a little bit of money promoting black people. Now he's going to sit here and do all this grandstanding in the worst possible ways.
Charleston White, keep your fucking apology to Carmelo Anthony's family. Keep it. You knew a long time ago that you was out of pocket. You knew a long time ago that you were wrong. You think you so smart and you know so much about the government and the 3 branches of government and how this work, and you keep saying how you did a lot of community work and you do all of these things. Okay, so you know that all black children are not thugs. You know that these are white supremacists trying to label Carmelo Anthony as a fucking convict at 17 years old. You knew that. You knew that before you opened your mouth about Carmelo Anthony. And now all of a sudden you're trying to backpedal. Fuck that. You already sold your motherfucking soul to the oppressor. You've already done that. So no, we don't accept your apology because you a disrespectful motherfucker. And I'm gonna say this again for the ones in the back. Charleston White sounds smart to dumb people who cannot use their own critical thinking skills. Charleston White has not only disrespected the dead, but he has also disrespected children that have nothing to do with nothing. And you guys are cheering this on. You guys think it's so funny because you look at everything as an entertainment moment. Charleston White is too fucking gone. Just go ahead and throw in the towel. Carmelo Anthony could have been any one of our loved ones. I myself have a 17-year-old son that is not a thug. He works and go to school. So just imagine something like that happens and then you got this bozo online agreeing with white supremacists as if he is a fucking convict. And he has no history. This young man has no history of any wrongdoing. He has no history of any wrongdoing. And Charleston White, you knew that shit. So save your fucking apology.
Charleston White is a plant, bro. And it's a couple things that Charleston White does that really make me look at him sideways. First, have y'all noticed that every time Charleston White want to speak about the black community, most of the people that he's talking to are people that have absolutely nothing to do with the black community. Charleston White, all he doing is chasing a bag. He just sits in front of racist people and say what they want to hear and basically go on this diatribe and critique black people in front of a bunch of people to justify the inhumane treatment of black people. The reason why this is so important, because when you dehumanize a group of people, then when you go and take their life, when you go and shoot them or something like that, the world don't really have any compassion for them. Charleston White is one of those black people that make black people seem and sound like we nothing but a bunch of hyenas. Even though we not the ones out here burning down cities, even though we have no history of slavery in this country, even though we have no history of discriminating against a group of people in the banking system, the judicial system, the legislative system, or the executive system. Black people don't even have power to discriminate against other people like that. We're the few group of people that go and circulate our money into other communities, but they never do it for us. The thing about Charleston White, he's gonna chase wherever the bag is. And what really let me know that he's a plant, you hear him talk all this shit about Trayvon Martin, who was a victim. You hear him talk all this shit about Carmelo Anthony. But did you hear Charleston White say anything about any of those white men that were taking these young black boy lives? Trayvon Martin was murdered by a man who was told to not even pursue him. Turns out Trayvon was just walking home from a store, and this guy was, I guess he was neighborhood watch or what the fuck ever. He had no business taking Trayvon Martin's life. You know what Charleston White did? He called him all kinds of N-words, called him out his name, just completely disrespecting that young man. And now with Carmelo Anthony, apparently black people are not allowed to protect themselves according to Charleston White. And when you talk about people have violence done against them, black people actually face the most hate crime from any other group of people, and it's not even close. I already debunked this theory of black men being the most violent. Actually, black men only commit 4% of the violent crime in this country. Most of the crimes that black men commit have to do with drugs. That is not a violent crime. But when I listen to people like Charleston White talk about black people, even though he don't really come to black people and talk to them from a place of resolution, that lets me know that he's a plant. He's just another Sambo black person that's out here going on these white platforms, telling white people what they want to hear, and they paying him thousands of dollars so that he can basically talk about all the deficiencies of the black community while bypassing the deficiencies of anybody else. And the fact that we have so many black people that supporting Charleston White, that lets me know the low self-esteem that black people have in general.
And I find it funny that we are having these conversations around a guy who, while doing these interviews, also did like his own live stream or video recording where he's trying to detail how all of this built up between Austin Metcalf and Carmelo. And for some reason, he's talking about the size of Carmelo Anthony's dick.
Or tore him to shreds in front of those other girls that he can't fuck. That the white girls starting to like this guy. And you know what all of this start from, right? They all went swimming one time at a party somewhere, at a house party. Carmelo Anthony jumped in the pool. He gets out of the pool, he got a big print. And the girls in the school start talking about he has a big print.
Can somebody please, what is wrong with me? Is it my fault? Do I say something to offend y'all when I sit here and say we all, the general public, know next to nothing of substantial note? You got people running around saying cleat sharpener, but now, because of Charleston White, it's a pocket knife. It's one of those Swiss Army toolkits that people have to make you sit there and think, oh, well, maybe you have to have a lot of force to stab somebody in the chest and the heart. Now we got to talk about fentanyl. Now we got to talk about motherfuckers being drugged up. Now we got to talk about motherfuckers beating their dad, or the dad being a piece of shit, or dad not being a real dad and the mom not caring about it and she's nowhere to be fucking found. And I'm just sitting here like, we are getting nowhere, and I'm so glad that motherfuckers' wells are running dry. I feel like I'm the one who's the outlier because I've been saying just sit back and wait and you'll get everything you desire. And unfortunately for a lot of y'all who is willing to make this your claim to fame in terms of content every single day of the week, the well has now run dry unless Carmelo Anthony kill another kid, or he magically disappears off the face of the earth, or the judge just comes in and say, we're not doing this next year, we're gonna do it tomorrow. This is done for a year. And the sick part about it is how many people are gonna grasp at anything that they can find from somewhere about something. You got journalists now threatening doxing lawsuits or just outright consequences for leaking private information. You got addresses being shown everywhere, all over, reporting off of everything. People are thinking that there's some covert operation going on to undermine black people when all motherfuckers are doing is getting freedom of information requests. This is getting fucking ridiculous for a lot of people, for the Austin Metcalf camp and for the Carmelo Anthony camp, because how have people gone this far over a story about one kid stabbing and killing another kid? Because something that could be just explained by just giving it a little time, understanding the scenario, getting all the accurate witnesses, going based off of video evidence, and then finding it guilty or not guilty, has turned into somebody's bored racial fixation. And it's fucking sad. From the Facebook stories to the false police reports to the motherfuckers on the Trump bus thinking they could just falsify some evidence by pointing at something on the ground and saying that's dry blood, to motherfuckers complaining about freedom of information requests. This is fucking ridiculous. So I'm gonna get on my knees and I'm gonna beg that for a year, could a good majority of you, because I know it won't be everybody, I know somebody's gonna get mad at what I'm saying because you want me to pick a fucking side, but you know what's so great about not picking a side? I can sit here and make fun of everybody while motherfuckers who are lockstep gotta fight tooth and nail to make sure that whatever Charleston White is saying is either correct or wrong, instead of just looking at that shit and saying, how the fuck can anybody trust this shit? Oh, no, it's more drastic to just be on my side. So please, I'm on my knees begging like I'm ready to suck some dick. Can y'all please just wait? All you gotta do, if you believe in Carmelo Anthony, you could wait. If you believe in justice for Austin Metcalf, you could wait. Time will be the ultimate gift for everybody. And I hope at the end of it all, somebody get what they want, because I've told y'all from jump, it's gonna go one or two ways. It would have been three, but they nixed that idea. It's either gonna be guilty or not guilty. And when this is all over, after all these bombastic reactions and statements and think pieces, when it's all said and it's fucking done, you're gonna get one of two responses depending on what you believe or what you've seen other people believe. Either A, they get what they want, whether Austin Metcalf gets justice or Carmelo Anthony walks scot-free. There's gonna be a side that's upset and a side that just takes it and runs for the hills and say, yes, we did it, we won, it's so great. But if they don't get what they want, if they don't get what they desire, and it's Carmelo Anthony going to jail or Carmelo Anthony just going scot-free and all that shit, you're going to hear people get on social media, make YouTube videos, and say it's a woke, corrupt court or a racist, corrupt court. These are your two options. Remember this. I keep repeating it at the end of these videos so that you know that it's not something I'm making up. It's something that's going to happen. Why? because history tells me I just gotta wait for the ending because all the pop and circumstance just really isn't as exciting as it fucking used to be. And to everybody else, subscribe to the channel. I will see you all in the next one because this is not the only thing that I can make fun of. I don't have just this one thing to fixate on. I have other stupid people and discussing stupid things because the well of stupidity could never run dry because the stupid people will be the gift that keeps on giving. Now, if you excuse me, I'm gonna go make a video about a white woman who's married, who is having relations with a child in the home of her married husband, and another white who, for some reason, if you don't agree with him, he's gonna campaign for a bunch of people to call CPS on your family. Mwah! Goodbye.